Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the player ratings for Everton 1, Manchester United 1. A disappointing end to obviously a game that we all thought we got 3 points from. In hindsight, probably a fair result in terms of you look at all the stats, possession. They had the better of the first half and we had the better of the second half. But you know, I did me glass reaction, and you know, I hadn't seen the goal again. I've looked at it a few times, and obviously social media, and I've looked at after the game on TV and stuff. And although the reasons why it was disallowed are correct in terms of what they're saying, it's a nonsense. It's a nonsense, because ultimately, when that shot comes in, whether Gylfi Sigurdsson's there or not, it's going to be a goal. He is not stopping De Gea whatsoever. De Gea, he's on the floor, and his body makes like an L shape. And when he's on the floor, De Gea is looking across his legs. His torso is not blocking David De Gea. His torso is to the side. He is looking across his legs. There is nothing at all stopping from David De Gea from seeing that shot from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert get it to shot off. You see David De Gea going the right way, and then it takes a touch off Maguire and goes in the other corner. There is nothing on earth that De Gea could have done about it, whether Sigurdsson's there or not. And for me, that's why it's a nonsense. In terms of the letter of the law, it is correct, but I'm sure. Listen, if football is now played by the absolute letter of the law, then this is where we are. Okay, this is where we are. But for them to say he was blocking David De Gea's view is nonsense. He was not blocking David De Gea's view. What if he'd just been lying down on the floor? Like literally the whole of his body was on the floor. He's in an offside position, but would he have been blocking the view of De Gea? No, he wouldn't have been. So it's a nonsense. To me, actually, the VAR should have been there to give the goal. If it hadn't been given goal, that makes sense. If the linesman thought it was offside, VAR actually would back it up that it should have been a goal. It's utter nonsense. The big question is why Sigurdsson was still lying there when he was lying there for like 10 seconds. Although if you go back a couple of seconds, when he had the shot save, which he should have scored, but Wan-Bissaka takes him out. So it was a penalty as well. So it's fine, isn't it? Fine not to check penalties or whatever, but there you go. Absolute nonsense. But you know what people argue about all day? If the shoe was on the other foot, we might be saying, well, he was in an offside position. But, you know, I'm big enough to put my hand up and say, well, when we played them at Old Trafford, Dominic Calvert-Lewin possibly got lucky for our goal. Swings and roundabouts, I suppose. De Gea loves having a moan when he concedes. He had a moan when he conceded against us at Old Trafford, and the one he conceded at Anfield as well. So, at the end of the day, he's just not the goalkeeper he used to be, but that's just the way it is. Let's get into the player ratings. Jordan Pickford. How can I judge Jordan Pickford? I don't know. The goal is his fault in terms of the shot goes under him, very much like the goal we conceded against Crystal Palace. It's a great strike, don't get me wrong. He really puts some power on it, but it's straight. You can see it all the way, and if he gets something on it, he saves it, and he doesn't. But then later on, he makes, I wouldn't say great double save, because I don't think the first part of it was a good save. I think he just flaps at it. But the reaction for the second one from Gallo was a really good save. I'll give him a 6. Because he makes that save at the end. But like against Crystal Palace, if he doesn't make a mistake, the opposition don't score. We'll see what happens. We'll see. I seen Gareth Southgate on the way out. He was driving down Spellow Lane after the match. Embarrassingly got told to stop by the guys who have the cones at the bottom. So loads of Everton fans went over to him. We'll see what happens in the next, whether he feels like he's... I think that's why he probably, one of the reasons he was like, there's a cup final going on, but yeah, he chose Goodison probably because of Pickford and probably because he wanted to have a little look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll give him a 6. Seamus Coleman, I'll give him a 6. Wasn't really on the pitch long enough to do anything. I'll just give him an average score. Have to wait and see what happens with that injury. Leighton Baines, I thought Baines played well again, all that experience again. His deliveries into the box were quite good. Never really got beaten. He's using all that experience and just shows you, that we can, when we call on him, he's there and he's got plenty, hopefully plenty left in the tank. Just a fantastic footballer. That's all you can say about him. He's just a fantastic footballer. And as I've said this before, it's a real shame that maybe when he was sort of getting to his late 20s that he couldn't have been converted into midfielder, because he's such a good player, such a good footballer. So I've given him a 7. The centre-backs, I thought the centre-backs did quite well. I thought Michael Keane coming in did quite well. Generally always in the right place, kept it simple. So I'll give him a 7. And Mason Holgate, I've given a 7 as well. I thought he had a good game. They couldn't have done anything for their goal, really, and they've dealt with everything, to be honest, in front of them, and a lot's come in. So I've given them both a 7. Into centre midfield, Tom Davies was a surprise pick, although with his energy, it does seem like he complements Andre Gomez. Poor first half from Tom, but I thought he was really good second half. So I'm giving him a 6 because of that. I thought second half, when he started playing forward and started finding the passes left and right, certainly out to the right, I thought he got us going, and I thought he had a lot more energy about him. He's got to find consistency, Tom. He's got to. As I said, first half not great, but second half got a lot better. Can he keep that going? Can he grow? We've said these things before. Can he build on that? He always seems to have maybe a couple of good games and then a couple of bad games. He's got to find that consistency. Not sure he'll ever find that consistency over a season at Everton, because I don't know whether the manager will think he's good enough. But maybe that's, I don't know, a loan, so maybe somewhere in Germany or something, follow the John Joe Kenny route. Although he's an experienced Premier League player, but he's a player that you just feel like needs a good run of games. And it's like, can we afford to give him those run of games if he's having inconsistencies? We've seen with other players, you give them a good run of games and you get that reward at the end. Obviously, in terms of Mason Holgate, in terms of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, in terms of Richarlison playing up front. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'll give him a 6. Andre Gomez, I've given a 6 as well, because I thought, at time when he was in the game, looked really good, but he was out of the game a lot, and that's not a criticism. That's just because for his full game, he was always going to be in and out of it. And the first half we really struggled in midfield. They had a really good grip on it, and as the second half and they started to tire, and Fernandes dropped off for them because he was the outstanding player in the first half, and obviously he got the goal. You've seen bits and bobs from Andre Gomez. Kept it neat and tidy. Didn't obviously see like the range of passing we had last week, but keeps the ball well. If we have a couple more players like him in the team who you can just give the ball to, and there's confidence there, then we'd be a lot better team. So I'll give him a 6. Theo Walcott, 5. Thought he struggled, and I might even be generous giving him a 5. I thought he struggled, to be honest. No, I'm going to give him a 4, actually. I'm going to give him a 4. Yeah, I'm going to give him a 4. I thought he struggled. Didn't think he got in the game. Never really. Every time he went in for a tackle, or every time he played a cross, or every time he played a pass or a shot, he never really believed in it. Yeah. Off the pace. Never really did anything to never contributed at all, really, in the game. So I'll give him a 4. Gylfi Sigurdsson, I will give a 5. Again, in and out the game. Over on that left-hand side. Again, not really making things happen. Should have scored the last-minute winner. Absolutely should have buried it. Hit it at the goalkeeper. And then obviously he's been part of what's happened afterwards. Hit the post with a free kick, obviously. But for me, always just seems second to the ball. Never fully, wouldn't say committed, just never gets there. And when he does get there, never really does what he needs to do. It's no coincidence to me that he's been shifted to the left. I think the manager's trying to get what he's got out of him, but he knows he can't have him in the centre of the park. Although he did go in the centre of the park late on, and he was all right as they tired. But he just doesn't have that effect on games anymore. And I thought he was again wasteful in possession. So I'll give him a 5. And then up front, Richarlison worked hard, lots of energy, always a threat. Fancied it again. Just never quite got on the ends of things. Had a decent header in the first half and had a header late in the second half. I mean, the one in the first half I thought he should have done better with, if I'm honest. Towards the end of the first half. But the energy's infectious from him, and you know, he's put in a real shift for us. So I'll give him a 7. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin again. Dom just looks like the complete centre forward now. Really does trouble the opposition. Obviously got his goal from adding absolutely nothing. Just by hard work and persistence. And that's what you get with hard work and persistence. Possibly could have doubled the lead for us not long after. He never really had it under control, and he just tried to steer it in the bottom corner. And De Gea got a hand on it. Maybe if he got a better first touch on it, he could have put it where he wanted, rather than putting it in the only place he could. And then, you know, he's denied the winning goal, really, isn't it? It would have been his goal if it had gone in, even though it would come off Maguire. He's denied the winning goal, which is, you know, again, whether you believe it should be disallowed or not, you know, he's in there. It would have been his goal. So I've given him 7 as well. So both our forwards working really well, really hard, putting pressure on the opposition. And that's where it all comes from. That's where I'm disappointed, like in the first half when we were from their goal, trying to play it out the back. City would just come on. I'd rather have just gone a bit longer. I think we should have gone longer more often in that first half when we weren't quite getting into it, because our forwards are the threat and will be the threat for us. But ultimately, Dom got his goal. But yeah, the front two just look brilliant at the moment, and they, you know, continue to score the goals, and there will be a threat for anybody. The subs, Sidney, a 5. Obviously, his bad ball for their goal never really got going. Had an issue where he smashed into the wall of the Gladys seat that it looked like, and I was holding his arm late on. He's just such a mixed bag. But obviously he wasn't great last week, and today wasn't great. Just little things. I don't know. I don't know whether they're going to sign him or not, so I've given him a 5. Bernardo, give a 6. Inventful when he came on. A lot more dangerous than Theo Walcott had been. Maybe, I don't know, the manager should be looking at and thinking, can I play Bernard on the right? Is that an option going forward rather than Theo Walcott? Has he done enough? He's come on in the last 2 games and offered, you know, a lot more than the player he's replaced. That's up to the manager now to decide what he's going to do with him. And Moise Keane, I gave a 5. Come on, didn't really do too much. I think won us a couple of corners, but apart from that, really never got into the game in the 9-10 minutes he was on the pitch. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree with my player ratings? Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to check out all the other videos. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Click the bell for alerts. And if you want more great videos, join us over on Patreon. The link is in the description. See you later.